Ideal mesmo para o mundo atual seria fazer o ensino médio junto com o curso técnico, certo? É no Senac que o aluno tem autonomia de verdade, formação cidadã, foco na diversidade, preparação para o Enem, material didático sem taxas e muito mais. Na real, tem tudo que você precisa para se sentir preparado para a vida. Seja para entrar no mundo do trabalho ou te ajudar a decidir o que fazer na faculdade. Quer saber? Senac. Vem comigo! Acesse sp.senac.br/ensino-médio-técnico. Sair da escola já com uma formação profissional no currículo? Parece bom demais pra ser verdade, né? Pois é. No ensino técnico do Senac, isso é possível. É ensino médio junto com formação técnica, que acontece durante os 3 anos. Lá, eles usam metodologia para projetos, desenvolvendo competências como resolução de problemas, pensamento crítico e colaboração, além de valores éticos e sustentáveis. Quer saber? Senac. Acesse sp.senac.br/ensino médio e saiba mais.
What's happening, y'all? It's your boy Night Got 333 Secrets Revealed. Your channel for the odd, mysterious, fringe, and unexplained content. If that's something that interests you, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and I also like to sprinkle in a little storytelling for y'all as well. Today, though, obviously we're going to be talking about what took place on the 13th of this month, and that was the congressional meetings with 4 whistleblowers from different parts of the military on UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena. These 4 whistleblowers touch on some crazy stuff, y'all. It's all stuff that, if you follow my channel, you already knew. Let's be honest. You already knew. We already knew what was going on. We already know pretty much more than what was said at these meetings by quite a bit. I would like to think that on this channel, if you follow it closely, you know more than 99.9% of the people on the internet. That's just the facts. That's what I am confident in saying. So, end of the day, if you haven't followed enough or watched most of my content and you want to know what's actually taking place on the planet we call Earth, watch my stuff. You'll figure it out quick. But yes, we're still going to touch on the stuff that regular folk or the populace finds interesting. And that's obviously going to be disclosure by our government of UAPs and to the extent at which they do disclose this information. It's all very interesting. They pretty much keep trickle feeding us information. And what makes it interesting that this is taking place is the simple fact that the more we know, the more I feel we are at risk of something heinous or bad taking place between us and these extraterrestrials. As many of you know, if you follow my channel, these beings are not necessarily good. The ones in control are not good. There are factions out there that want to help us, but unfortunately, the faction in control of us is one of the most powerful. Well, the 2 factions that are in control of us are 2 of the top tier, most powerful entities in our realm, if you will. And obviously, all of this is for entertainment purposes only. It may or may not be true. Everything I say, it's subject to scrutiny. Keep that in mind. End of the day, the alien factions in control of our planet do not have humanity's best interest at heart. Either way, though, that's not what we're here to talk about right now. This took place in the U.S. House Oversight Committee. They held a hearing titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Exposing the Truth, featuring the testimonies from 4 key witnesses. Dr. Tim Gallaudet, a retired Rear Admiral of the U.S. Navy and former acting administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Dr. Gallaudet shared his experience and insights regarding UAPs, emphasizing the need for transparency and scientific investigation. Luis Elizondo, he was one of the main speakers, I'd say, kind of took control for the rest of the whistleblowers. A former Department of Defense official who led the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, the AATIP. Elizondo discussed his knowledge of UAP encounters and advocated for greater government openness on the subject. Michael Gold, former Associate Administrator for Space Policy and Partnerships at NASA, and a member of NASA's UAP Independent Study Team. Gold provided insights into NASA's approach to UAP research and the importance of destigmatizing the study of these phenomena. And then we have Michael Schellenberger, an investigative journalist and founder of the publication Public. Schellenberger presented information on alleged secretive government programs related to UAPs and called for increased transparency and accountability. What did this whole thing consist of? What did it entail, right? A couple days ago, the U.S. House Oversight Committee held a hearing titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Exposing the Truth, focusing on unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, commonly known as UFOs. The session featured testimonies from former military and government officials aiming to shed light on UAP encounters and advocate for increased transparency. The key testimonies: Luis Elizondo, a former Pentagon official who led the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, and asserted that UAPs are real and that both the U.S. and adversarial nations possess secretive UAP technologies. He emphasized for the need for public awareness and transparency regarding these phenomena. So I'm going to go ahead and show a little clip.
UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. Furthermore, the U.S. is in possession of UAP technologies, as are some of our adversaries. I believe we are in the midst of a multi-decade secretive arms race, one funded by misallocated taxpayer dollars and hidden from our elected representatives and oversight bodies. For many years, I was entrusted with protecting some of our nation's most sensitive programs. In my last position, I managed a special access program on behalf of the White House and the National Security Council. As such, I appreciate the need to protect certain sensitive intelligence and military information. I consider my oath to protect secrets as sacred, and I will always put the safety of the American people first. With that said, I also understand the consequences of excessive secrecy and stovepiping. Nowhere was this more apparent than in the aftermath of 9/11, which many of us remember all too well.
Yep.
I believe that America's greatness depends on three elements. A watchful Congress, B, a responsive executive branch, and C, an informed public.
Amen.
Over the last decade and a half, I learned that certain UAP programs were and are operating without any of these elements. Although much of my government work on the UAP subject still remains classified, excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel, and the public, all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos. A small cadre within our own government involved in the UAP topic has created a culture of suppression and intimidation that I've personally been victim to, along with many of my former colleagues. This includes unwarranted criminal investigations, harassment, and efforts to destroy one's credibility.
Absolutely.
Most Americans would be shocked to learn that the Pentagon's very own Public Affairs Office openly employs a professional psychological operations officer as the singular point of contact for any UAP-related inquiries from citizens and the media. This is unacceptable. Many of my former colleagues and I have provided.
Now, what does that mean? To me, that means that if you call in and you say you saw a UAP, he's going to psychologically try to convince you otherwise. That's what that means. Or mess with your head, maybe send some guys after you, do some, crowd stalking, stuff like that. Use psychological tactics to convince you otherwise or convince yourself you're crazy. Crazy stuff.
Classified testimony to both the Department of Defense and the Intelligence Community Inspector General, and many of us have subsequently been targeted by this cabal with threats to our careers, our
cabal. That's crazy he said that. Cabal.
Security clearances, and even our lives. This is not hyperbole, but a genuine fact, and this is wrong. To fix these problems, I propose three principal actions. First, Congress and the President should create a single point of contact responsible for a whole-of-government approach to the UAP issue.
Trump will do that. Watch.
Currently, the White House, CIA, NASA, the Pentagon, Department of Energy, and others play a role, but no one seems to be in charge, leading to unchecked power and corruption. Second, we need a national UAP strategy that will promote transparency and help restore the American public's trust at a time when the public's trust is at an all-time low.
Absolutely.
This strategy should include a whole-of-government approach, including the academic and scientific communities, the private sector, and our international partners and allies. Third, Congress should create a protected environment so whistleblowers desperate to do the right thing can come forward without fear. As it currently stands, these whistleblowers suffer because of stigma, a code of silence, and concerns about retaliation. These whistleblowers should be encouraged to come forward in ways that protect them against any forms of retaliation. Policies and procedures should ensure that protection, and for those who refuse to cooperate, it is up to the members of this committee and the other lawmakers to wield their subpoena power against hostile witnesses and prevent additional government funding to those UAP efforts that remain hidden from congressional oversight.
Absolutely.
In closing, we as Americans have never been afraid of a challenge. In fact, we thrive on them, whether it's eradicating polio or going to the moon.
And yes, we did go to the moon, maybe not in 1969, but we did go to the moon, and we have landed on the moon. The moon is a celestial body, you guys. I know you guys are convinced that we never landed on the moon, that it doesn't exist. It's just a plasma or a plasma entity or plasma body that's not tangible. You can't land on it, or you guys think it's a hologram. It's not. The moon is a celestial body. It says it in the book of Enoch. They take Enoch and they show him the moon and the sun are both physical celestial bodies. So the moon exists. It's not fake. It's not a hologram. It's not plasma. It's a physical celestial body. And you can ask, even Billy Carson agrees with that.
We don't run from a challenge. We take it head on. To the incoming administration and Congress, I say to you, we need immediate public transparency. And this hearing is an important step on that journey. If we approach the UAP topic in the same way as we, as Americans, have met other challenges, we can restore our faith in our government institution.
There you go. Pretty good stuff there, either way. They touch on some much crazier stuff, guys. So they go on and they ask them questions, right? All four of them. During the recent congressional hearing, the unidentified anomalous phenomena exposing the truth, several key points were discussed. Advanced technology. Witnesses described UAPs exhibiting capabilities beyond current human technology, such as extreme speeds, sudden direction changes, and the ability to operate in multiple environments, air, sea, and space, unimpeded. Testimonies included accounts of UAPs appearing as spheres, discs, and other shapes, with some reports maintaining or mentioning the jellyfish forms. Alleged retrieval programs. Witnesses claimed the existence of secret government programs aimed at recovering and reverse engineering UAPs. Luis Elizondo, a former Pentagon official, suggested that both the U.S. and adversarial nations possess these technologies. And we've known this. This is standard stuff. We knew this, guys. There was a consensus among witnesses and lawmakers on the need for greater transparency, blah, blah, blah. We get that. Non-human intelligence. Then they asked this. Some testimonies alluded to the possibility that UAPs could be of non-human origin, or AI, though no definitive evidence was presented. The focus remained on the unexplained nature of these phenomena and the need for further investigation. Luis goes on to say at one time that it's almost as if the ETs were boasting that they were not afraid to camo. They were not afraid to go and viz. They were not afraid to show themselves, get information, and basically say, we're here. What are you going to do about it? I mean, rumor has it they even fired missiles at these things. They didn't even touch them, guys. That is crazy. That's scary. But we already knew this, guys. We already knew this. At the end of the day, yes, they're light years ahead of us. They're allowing us, guys. We do not own this planet. People need to realize that. We think we're great and we're all powerful, but they let us think that. when you got to start figuring out what's going on, you got to start asking yourself why they let us think that, why they allow us to be so egotistical and arrogant to think that we are in control of our situation on this planet. I'll leave it at that. Reports highlighted incidents where UAPs were observed near sensitive military installations, raising concerns about potential national security risks. Witnesses urged for a structured approach to address these encounters. There are levels of government that are already in talks with these beings. There are levels of government that are already in deals with these beings. Okay, and it has been going on since the 50s and 60s. Notably Eisenhower, AUTEC, allowing them to abduct humans. It's all been negotiated. Overall, the hearing underscored the enigmatic, nature of UAPs, the necessity, I hate that, I'm sorry, I'm get so tired of that word, the necessity for transparent government disclosure, and the importance of continued scientific inquiry, blah, blah, blah. Okay, during the recent congressional hearings on unidentified anomalous phenomena, several testimonies highlighted this. Kuwait Coast incident. Journalist Michael Schellenberger reported a 13-minute full-color video depicting a white orb UAP emerging from the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait. The footage allegedly filmed from a helicopter shows the orb ascending from the water, later joined by other orbs, briefly entering the frame before rapidly exiting. This video was reportedly stored on the Department of Defense's secure network. I think I've seen that video, to be honest. Or at least a rendition of that video on the History Channel, to be honest. USS Omaha encounter. Retired Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet recounted a 2019 incident involving the USS Omaha, where Navy personnel observed a trans-medium UAP capable of moving seamlessly between air and water off the coast of San Diego. That's the video we've all seen. The object that they presented, and we've all seen it, one of the ocean, and it dives up and down. The object was tracked descending into the ocean, prompting concerns about unidentified submersibles as well and their implications for maritime security. Here, at one point during the day, they even say that they come from the ocean. We all know, yes, they are in the ocean. They have bases in the ocean, underwater. They don't come from the ocean, guys. That's not where they come from. They come from other planets or other circle environments or other, how do I say it? I just like other circle environments, all right? Michael Gold, a former NASA associate administrator and member of the NASA UAP independent study team, emphasized the need for modesty in our assumptions about the nature of intelligence behind these UAPs. He suggested that some may be controlled by AI, stating, "We assume that all intelligence would be like us, but every time we look out into the universe, we are humbled relative to what we don't know in terms of the forms of intelligence and what it may take," saying that we have no idea what they are, and I think we're going to be surprised. Well, yeah. Most will be surprised. This perspective, I think anybody will, no matter what. It's going to be a stunning revelation if that happens. The perspective highlights the importance of considering non-biological forms of intelligence when investigating UAPs as well. So, yeah, I'm going to show you a few clips from this whole thing. Another point is what he talks about right here, which I found to be crazy, all right? But if you think back to the videos and the talks we've had, guys, you'll already know what's taking place here. Why? There's no G-forces affecting these beings.
The human body can withstand about 9 G-forces for a short period of time before you suffer negative biological consequences, blackouts and ultimately redouts and even death. The vehicles we're talking about are performing in excess of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 Gs.
3,000
Comparison, our best technology, the F-16, which is this older platform, but one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned aircraft, made by General Dynamics, can perform about 17 or 18 G-forces before you start having structural failure, meaning that the airframe begins to disintegrate while you're flying. One of the reasons why my predecessor program, OSAP, was trying to collect material of unknown origin.
Was it successfully collected?
It was not. What happened is that there was an aerospace contract company that requested to divest itself of the material that was collected in the 1950s. Unfortunately, that didn't actually occur.
So let's dive into that. That's the Bigelow Airspace, correct?
Bigelow Airspace. Interesting. I'm not sure exactly what's behind that. I haven't really looked into the Bigelow Airspace. So let's do it. Robert Bigelow is a billionaire business mogul, mostly for real estate, but he's also known for buying the land in the Skinwalker Ranch from its previous owners after they had the troubles they had. He's always been obsessed with UFOs, and he founded Bigelow Aerospace in 1999. He also founded the National Institute for Discovery Science, an organization pertaining to paranormal phenomena. But it's believed he does a lot of work for our government when it comes to reverse engineering craft and the like. He rubs elbows with the upper echelons of the top secret security clearance team in the U.S. government. There you go. That's what's up. He has the materials. So he is trying to obviously probably reverse engineer the stuff, guys. He's the one behind it. I just didn't want to play too much of another video. I don't want to get copyright hit. So, yeah, there you have it. Robert Bigelow, a billionaire. His family had a UAP encounter. He's interested. There you go. Probably being tasked by the government for re-engineering. This is just an assumption of the craft. Okay? So, crazy stuff. That 3,000 Gs, what's that because of? The warp drive bubble. These UAPs create this warp drive bubble that protects them from basically all natural physical phenomena when traveling at light speed. It's as if they are protected by this bubble, this shield that's around them that keeps everything within this shield in a normal physical state. Without it, which because we don't have it, you heard him, 17 Gs will literally rip the jet apart. These things are producing up to 3,000 G forces. And the entities inside are unharmed, untouched. Humans can only withstand 9 Gs before we could possibly pass out and die. So, yeah, they have basically essentially created a warp drive bubble. Let's do a little research on that real quick. I love ChatGPT. I use it all the time. If you guys haven't dabbled, you definitely should. ChatGPT is the future. Also known as the Alcubierre bubble, is a theoretical concept in physics related to faster than light travel. The idea proposed by physicist Miguel Alcubierre in 1994 suggests a method by which a spacecraft could achieve effective faster than light travel by creating a bubble in space-time around it. A warp drive would create a bubble around the spacecraft by contracting space-time in front of it and expanding it behind. The movement allows the spacecraft within the bubble to move related or relative to the universe without actually accelerating within its own local space. This theoretically bypasses the light speed limit since the spacecraft itself isn't moving within space-time, but is instead surfing on a wave of space-time distortion. Wow, interesting. Within this warp drive bubble, the spacecraft would experience normal conditions as if it were at rest, meaning there'd be no dramatic G-forces or other relativistic effects that would make such travel deadly. The bubble itself would move across the universe and superluminal, faster than light speeds. One of the main challenges for creating a warp drive bubble is the massive amount of energy required, especially negative energy or exotic matter, which doesn't have mass in the usual sense. Estimates of energy needed have varied, but some early calculations suggest it would require more energy than is available in the observable universe. More recent adjustments have reduced the theoretical energy needed, but practical implementation remains out of reach. Yeah, right. So far, the warp drive bubble is purely theoretical, while no experimental evidence supports its feasible ongoing research. So does it have to have warp drive to achieve the bubble? That's kind of what I'm looking for. Very interesting. This is what I'm leaning more towards than the warp drive bubble, to be honest. It's electromagnetic or anti-gravity propulsion. It's also theorized that some UAPs might use electromagnetic or anti-gravity propulsion systems that allow movement independent of atmospheric or gravitational forces. Such propulsion could create a protective field around the craft, shielding occupants from the high G-forces associated with rapid acceleration or deceleration. Definitely think it's that. I think it has to do with magnetics mostly. Yeah, it's crazy to me how they're not affected by the G-forces, and we know why that is, right? We know they have some sort of either warp drive bubble where they manipulate space-time and they are protected from any type of physical phenomena while traveling at light speed. It's either a warp drive bubble or an electromagnetic force of some sort, anti-gravity propulsion system that protects them and allows them to travel at such speeds without being affected by G-force. I have a feeling it could be both, to be honest with you. I think that it could be both. I know they're using magnetics in some way, shape, or form. Just think about polar opposites when the opposite magnets push off from each other. It's got to be something along those lines. So let's go to some more of the footage really quick.
We have possession of bodies.
Yes.
We have is it multiple types of creatures or?
Sir, I couldn't answer that. I can tell you anecdotally that it was discussed quite a bit when I was at the Pentagon.
Is this part of the Lockheed Martin discussion, or is this the biologics is a completely separate?
Separate yet related.
Okay. Has there been any, to your knowledge, any communication with a non-human life form?
So the term communication is a bit of a trick word because there's verbal communication like we're having now. The problem is you also have nonverbal communication. And so I would say definitively yes, but from a nonverbal meaning, when a Russian reconnaissance aircraft comes into U.S. airspace, we scramble two F-22s, and we are certainly communicating intent and capability. I think the same goes with this. We have these things that are being observed over controlled U.S. airspace, and they're not really doing a good job hiding themselves. They're making it pretty obvious they have the ability to even interfere with our nuclear equities and our nuclear readiness. Certainly there seems to be some indication that they're being provocative, meaning that they're, in some cases, literally splitting aircraft formations right down the middle. So that's an air safety issue. The question is it the frequency increasing? And really the response is, it depends. Yes, it's possible that there is an increase in frequency, but it's also possible that there's heightened awareness now, and there's also more pervasiveness of technology out there that's collecting this information and that can record this information. So we're not quite sure yet if it's actually an increase in numbers of these events, or is it that we have better equipment now to record these things.
As we advance, they're going to flex their muscle more and more because they want to let us know who's the boss at the end of the day. They want to let us know they still got us, so don't get too comfortable. So the Daily Mail shared allegedly rockets being fired at UAPs in Afghanistan, and they don't do any damage, and they just blow up. Those aren't rockets, guys. Those are legit flares. I did some digging, so don't buy it. It's not true. Those are actually flares. They're used for targeting practice. You can just see by the way they move, by the way they float down, they're literally like dripping or like sparks. They're like dropping sparks. It looks like fuel dripping from them, but they're dropping sparks. It's not UAPs. Sorry. Nice try, Daily Mail, but it's not.
There's an underwater base for sure, right off Guadalupe Island, down underneath the sea. There's a specific spot right off that island right there, beneath the sea. They deployed an entire carrier group. They monitored over 100 sightings of UFOs coming and going down into the ocean right there and going down to the bottom of the ocean. And they were monitored by the submarines. That's right, monitored by the submarines underneath the water, coming and going. So that there's certainly a base there. There's another base outside of Sedona, Arizona. There's a place called Secret Mountain Wilderness over there that's just totally desolate area. The base there where where the craft are. There's a number of them high in the mountains and remote areas of the planet, and that they're here now. That they're extraordinarily distressed. You can tell. about the state of affairs right now.
Of humanity.
Yes.
When he says that, I think he's full of crap. They're distressed about the state of affairs with humanity. No, they're not. They're causing the state of affairs with humanity. They're causing the evil to take place. They're causing it. They're behind it. They never give us a fair chance to naturally go towards love and light like we naturally would. We are constantly negatively influenced, not only by humans, our own people, our own species, but by also extraterrestrial entities. So that's bull. Check this out.
This is a snapshot of the film that was smuggled in 1991 out of a facility just south of Area 51. If I am truly in danger, that means that this film and this being is real, and God help me. But if I'm truly in danger and this being is real, that means the extraterrestrial program is also real. And I say, God help us all.
This video contains a sample edited from fragments of videotape 5. Tape duration 180 minutes. Total recorded duration 1,260. So this is alleged to be real footage of EBE-1, Extraterrestrial Biological Entity 1, supposedly crashed in Roswell and was with us, our government, that is, for a couple years after that, as they tried to fix the craft, engineer it so they could contact back to home. They are Zeta Reticuli, a form of gray alien that is shorter than actual gray aliens, but the same type of species. This is said to be the last video of EBE-1 alive. You'll see in the bottom corner it says DNI, that's Department of Naval Intelligence. It's alleged that the person on the left, you can barely see their shadow, is Colin Powell. He's a telepath and he's talking to her. That's alleged. Talking to it. Sorry, I always want to call it a her. I don't know why, but notice that instrument in front of it. It must be monitoring it or maybe a form of communication. But you can see it starts to struggle. It's getting disoriented. Its eyes obviously are black, but they just look like it's staring into the abyss. They said that it caught a sickness or a virus that it was not immune to and had no protection against like you and I do. Said to be real. Many people believe it is. Is it verifiable? Absolutely not. But you'll see doctors rush in here soon. They look at its eyes for hemorrhaging, and there's nothing we can do for it, basically. Crazy stuff, though, y'all. Crazy stuff. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you feel that you actually are more informed than they are? Do you agree with the amount of information they're giving up? What do you guys think? Do you think they're AI? Do you think they're biological entities? What do y'all think? I'm curious to hear your opinions in the comments. Are you glad they're disclosing? Should they be disclosing? Should they disclose more? Etc. You all know we're very informed. If you watch my channel, we're informed. So keep watching. I'll always come out with more stuff. I'm going to follow this, continue to follow this. I hope you liked this quick review or overview so you didn't have to go watch the entire video. It's tedious. It's kind of boring. So hopefully this was more interesting for you and it kept you entertained and informed you. My next video is going to be the next couple of days. It's going to be a story. You will like it. So stay tuned. Stay in the love. Stay in the light. Be kind to others. Out.